One small positive thought in the morning can change our entire day. Let me take privilege of being that agent of change today. Before I start, I would like to thank our revered principal ma'am and worthy HOD ma'am for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge with all of you. In this session, we will understand Google Forms and how we can create quizzes with Google Forms. Google Forms are free survey online tool. They help us to collect various information from our respondents. So my interest is how Google Form can make my life easier. So as a teacher, I have to collect various information from my students. Sometimes I need to collect their attendance, their contact numbers, their email IDs. So Google Form is a very good tool for collecting such information from our students. Whether I'm conducting or whether you're conducting a virtual class or whether you're organizing a physical class, in any type of class you need a Google Form, and that helps you to collect various information from students. Besides that, we also take tests, objective or subjective tests, so we can also create Google quizzes for making such MCQs, or for subjective question papers we can use Flabero as an add-ons with Google Forms. So in this session we will understand how we can work on these tools. So this is my Gmail account. So for creating Google Form, the prerequisite is that you should have a Gmail account, and through your Gmail account you can get access to your Google Drive. So how to open your Google Drive? You can see that this icon which is looking like a grid, this is Google Apps icon. After clicking on this icon, you can see that there are various applications and we have to select Drive option. I have selected Drive, that means I am opening my Google Drive. So my Google Drive is open now. To create a Google Form, I have to click on this new button. After clicking on this new button, you will see various options. You have to click on this more button, or you have to just touch this more button. Here you will get the option Google Forms. In Google Forms you will find two options, blank form and from a template. From a template means it has there are few predefined structures which are given by Google Forms. You can use those structures. So some are for the business invitations, any kind. You can find various types or various templates in this option. If you want to customize them, you can customize those options, or you can create your own blank form. So I have selected the blank form. In this blank form, you can see that here it is written untitled form. So first you have to decide the title of your form. For example, if I am creating a feedback form, so it is your choice whatever title you want to give to your Google Form. Below this you can see here it is written form description. So form description is not required, it is not mandatory, but it's a good practice to give a description to your form, because it will help the respondents to understand what kind of response you need, or what are the fields in this Google Form, so they will respond accordingly. Again, you can see that here also it is written untitled form. If you click on this particular untitled form, it is automatically changed to the feedback form, the title which you gave earlier. If you want to keep this as a this is the title of your form and this is the name of your form, just like a name of a file. If you want to keep the same feedback form for this file name also, you can keep it as it is, or you can make a change in it. For example, if I want to change, I have to change it to Becom CA. So now the name of the file is Becom CA and the title of the form is feedback form. So here you can give the description. Here you can see there are two tabs, question tabs and responses tab. Right now we are working on questions tab. In questions tab we will give all the questions or fields which we want in our Google Form. So the first question, this is the placeholder where you can give your question. So here if I want to ask from my respondents their name, so I will write my field as full name. After writing the name of your field, you have to select the type of your field. So you can see in this drop down box there are various options for selecting the type of the field. So the full name, for full name we will select the short answer type. It is just a one-liner answer, so we will select the short answer type for full name. So I have selected the short answer type. here, after selecting the type, you can see there are 4 options given below. This is the required option. After clicking on this option, I am just moving the slider towards the right side. It means I have made this field mandatory. Without filling this field, the respondent cannot submit the form. That means you have made this field required. You can also delete, using this delete button, you can delete any field, this particular field, using this delete button. If you want to create the duplicate of this particular field, you can create a duplicate. For example, I have made a duplicate of this field. See, so this field has all the attributes which are similar to full name. I just want to change the name of the field. All other attributes are similar, so I can create a duplicate copy of the above field. So this is how you can create the duplicate copy of the existing field, right? Now for creating one more field, you have to click on this button, add question button. I've clicked on this button. So let's understand all the types which are given for fields. I have explained you these options. Now for example, here you have short answer type. You know, short answer will use short answer type when we want to get just one line answer from our respondent. Paragraph, when you want some feedback or some comments from your respondents, like a paragraph kind of answer, so you will select this type. Multiple choice, when you want your respondents to choose one of the option among the given options. So for example, if I want to choose the multiple choice, so what kind of for what kind of fields I can use that? For example, class. Fine. So multiple choice gives various options to the respondent, and respondent can choose any one of them. You can add options like this, clicking on add option, right? If I choose other here, right, other, so other will create a text box just after this other option. That means user can type their own option here. We are giving a choice to the user to type their own option here, right? So through multiple choice, we can create multiple options from which user can select any one option. So let's see, I have just created 3 fields. Before understanding further fields, let's see how this Google form will look when you share its link to the user. So let's understand these above options also. I am not using first 2 options. Let's see this option. This is the preview option. After clicking on this preview option, you can see how your Google form will look like. You can see there is full name, because these fields are mandatory. That's why you can see a star mark here, which is saying that these fields are required fields. And this is your multiple choice option. User can select only one option at a time. This is a multiple choice option, and any one option at a time, right? So this is the feedback form. Let's get back to our form which we were already creating. So let's understand some other type of fields. Like multiple choice, you have check boxes. In check boxes, user can choose multiple options. So I am changing it to hobbies. That means in multiple choice, user can select only one option, but in check boxes, the same user, you can see the box change, the same user can choose multiple options. For example, I have given hobbies, music, sports, theater. If you want to delete any option, click here. So add option, theater, right? So this is how you can give a checkbox. You can use the checkbox type. Let's see the preview. Yeah. So now user can select as many options he want. So this is the checkboxes. Let's get back to our feedback form. Let's see other types. So I'm adding one more question. We have completed multiple choice, check boxes. Next is drop down list. You can use drop down list again for selecting any one option among the given options. Like I can also use, I could have also given class a drop down type. So you can see how it will look after these changes. So I have given the various options, right? So my type is drop down. Let's add one more question and we'll see the preview together. So we have completed multiple choice, drop down, check boxes. Next is linear scale. Linear scale is just like Richter scale options when you want to give some grades to some or grades or ordinal numbers, or when you collect some feedback from users. So you want to give on 5-point Richter scale, then you will select the linear scale option. So I have selected this linear scale option. So for example, if I want to ask from my respondents about nepotism in Bollywood, what option they want to choose. So here we have given a scale from 1 to 5. If the starting number is 1, you can change it to 0. By default the starting ending number is 5. You can also change the last ending number of the scale. So label, this is optional. We want to give the label for the first option, for example, strongly disagree. That's optional. It's not necessary to give the labels. Right here, strongly agree. Right. So this is how I have created a Richter scale or linear scale. I have used the linear scale option. We can again make these fields also required. Let's see the preview, how these options will look. See, this is the preview button, hobbies, and here the drop down option. When you choose drop down option for the class, it will look like this. That means you can select any one option from the given options. This is your linear scale option. You can see from 1 to 5 it is showing you the linear scale. So the 1 represents strongly disagree and 5 represents strongly agree. So the user can select any one option from this 1 to 5 scale. So let's get back to our feedback form. So let's see, I have added one more question and we have 2 more types which we can use here. This is multiple choice grid type. Multiple choice grid type means we can create multiple rows and columns. For example, you want to grade your speaker. So row 1, we are creating a grid here, speaker 1, row 2, speaker 2, here satisfied, not satisfied, or you can add more columns, good, average, bad. Okay, this is the way you want to categorize the speakers. So let's see its preview. See, it will come like a grid. So for speaker 1, which option you want to choose, average, bad, or whatever you want to choose, you can choose only one option, and if we make it mandatory, so you have to give the answers for all the speakers. For example, I have selected good for this particular speaker, right? So this is your grid. Let's get back to our grid. We have worked on multiple choice grid. You can also use tick box grid. The difference between multiple choice grid and tick box grid is just like multiple choice and check boxes. So you can try your own. Let's add one more question and see the date type. I have selected here date type. For example, if you want to ask the date of birth from your respondent or any date, whichever you want, you can use date of birth for the option. So let's see the preview. How it will look like. See, this is the date of birth. A respondent can fill the date in this format: a month, date and year, or the respondent can also click on this calendar to select the required date. So these are the options, or these are the various types which you can use for creating your Google form. So next thing is, after creating your Google form, how you can send or share, or you can change the settings of your Google form. So after preview, this button will help to change the settings of your Google form. See, here you have three tabs: journal, presentation and quizzes. In journal tab, if you want to collect email addresses from the respondents, you can select this particular checkbox, right? If you want to give the response to their receipts, that after submitting the form, you want to mail to the respondents, or you want to give them the response, then you have to select on this checkbox. Again, you have two options. If you want to, if whatever you want to set, if I click on always, it means that every time whenever a respondent fill the Google form, the respondent will get the response of receipt. If I select this, so the respondent will only get the receipt if the respondent requests for the receipt, right? Next is require sign in. That means if you want to limit it to one response, that means a user can only respond once, or he can fill the form once, then you have to click on this particular option, select this options. Again, you want whatever you want to set for your respondents: edit after submitting, see summary charts and text responses, whatever you want to do, you can do it here. Next is presentation. In presentation, these options we will understand later, so I am leaving it right now. For example, if you have not chosen this option in presentation, you would have seen this option automatically selected. That means it is showing the link to submit another response. That means it is allowing user to give more than one response. After giving the response, here is the confirmation message. By default, it comes your response has been recorded. You can give your own message here. That means after submitting the Google form, the user will get this particular message. This quiz tab will take in the Google quizzes. Let's save these settings. Now you want to share your feedback form, or you want to share your Google form. You have to select the send option. In send option, you can send your Google link via email. That means you have two options: this email options and this link option. So if you want to send via email, so here you can give the mail IDs of various users or various respondents. So it's you can give the mail IDs of various respondents, and these mail IDs will get the link to these Google forms. This is one way. After writing here the email IDs of the users, you can click on this send button, right? So these users will get the link of the Google form. Another way is by clicking on this link button. After clicking on this link button, this is the link which is automatically created by Google form. You can shorten this URL, and then you can copy this URL by pressing Ctrl+C, or click on this copy button, and you can now share this link to your friends or respondents, or whom you want to send this. For example, I am creating a new tab here and pasting the link of our form. and enter. So you can see that this is how your Google form will look like. We have created a Google form and we have shared to the user, right? Let's get back to our Google form. So this is the tab questions tab, and now we want to understand the responses tab. For this I want to show a already existing Google form. This is my existing Google form. I have created an attendance form and taken the responses from my students. So in responses tab, after responses tab, you can see this 47 number. That means 47 respondents have filled this form. So let's go on this particular tab. Here you can see that this is, here I can see the responses of my students. I'll get back to it later. This, if I move this slider to towards the left side, that my form will stop accepting the responses from the students or from the respondents. So after a time period, if you want to close the close accepting responses, you can move it towards left, or if you want to open the accepting responses, you can move it towards move the slider towards right. So we will understand these heads in MCQs or in the Google quizzes. So this is your Google sheet. You can view the responses of all the respondents in this particular sheet. For example, click on this particular sheet. See, this is the Google sheet. You can see all the responses from all the students who have given their responses after filling this form. You can see in this particular sheet, these heading of this sheet is the fields which you gave in the Google form. So these are the field names which I gave in my Google form. These become the columns of this Excel sheet. So here you will get the responses. The responses are stored in the Google sheet. You can work or you can use these responses for whatever work you want to use. Similarly, I have also created a Google quiz. So this is my Google quiz. Okay, before that I'll make you understand how to create a Google quiz. Let's create a new form. Just few changes you need to do to understand a Google quiz. Again, I am creating a new form. I'll just make few changes. You know how to give the title of your form, or you know how to create the questions. For example, my question is what is the capital of India, right? I'll select the multiple option and I'll give the various options here. So I'm not giving any constructive example here because I have already explained you how you can create the various options. That means if I want, let me do it again. What is the capital of India? For example, I have given here Chennai. New Delhi. Then Bangalore. Mumbai. Right? Before making it a Google quiz, first you have to make changes in the settings. In settings, this time you have to select the quizzes tab. In quizzes tab, first you have to make this a quiz. So now you will get all the options which are needed for creating a Google quiz. After moving it after making it a quiz, you can see these options. If you want to release a mark immediately after the submission of the answers by the students, you will select this particular option. Or if you want to send the response or send the marks after the manual review, then you will select this option. So for this particular example, I am selecting this option. Later we will understand this particular option. Besides that, if you want your respondent to see the missed questions, correct answers, point values, so select these check boxes, right? So let's get back to our Google form. So this is the question I have created. Now I have to make this question mandatory. Other things are same. Here just answer key option is added in this. After making this as a Google quiz, this particular answer key option is added in our Google form. So I will click on this answer key and give points to my question. Like I want to make this question for 2 points, so I have added a 2 points here. If I want to add any feedback to the question, I'll click on add answer feedback. Feedback is for incorrect answers and correct answers. For example, if someone has given an incorrect answer, so I want to give them a message, sorry, answer is wrong, whatever you want to write. If the answer is correct, so give them a feedback like good, whatever you want to write. Besides that, if you want to give them a link to where they should access the exact detail of this particular answer, so you can also copy a URL here, a link to link for this particular answer, so that the student can verify their answer from that particular link. So you can add a link or URL here. For example, if I want to give my students the answer to this particular question, for example, capital of India. So this link gives the complete explanation, which is the capital of India, for example, this particular website. So I am copying the link of this particular website. I have selected the URL, Ctrl+C, I have copied, and now I will paste it in my form here, right? And then save. So I have added a feedback for my answer. Besides that, you also have to select the correct answer for this question, so that the Google quiz can give the grades to the students. So I have selected the correct answer for this particular question. So I have done the settings for this question so that the Google quiz can give the grade for this particular question, right? What I have done, I have given the points, I have selected this question, the correct answer for this question, I have given feedback for the correct answer, I have given the feedback for the incorrect answer. Now done. This is how you can create multiple questions for your Google quiz, right? Besides that, you can also add sections to your questions paper. For example, we have unit 1, 2, 3. So I can create a section here. So you can see this particular option, add section. By adding section, I am creating another questions for unit 2. I have given this particular section name unit 2. Now I am again adding another question. In unit 2, I want to ask another question: what is the capital of Haryana? For example, my first unit was about the countries and the second unit is about the state, right? So this is how you can create various sections and add questions in particular sections. So this makes much easier for the user also to understand, to know the categories of your questions. So this is how you can create your Google quiz. Other things, settings and sending the Google quiz is similar the way we did in the Google form. So I have already created some tests and taken the responses from my student. For example, this is the test. I have given the following fields. This is the title, form description. I have selected the option email address. Then I have given the name, roll number, and after that I have added a section. The way I have explained you how to add a section, this button will help you to add a section. So in section 2 I have given the heading unit 1. Again, description is optional here. If you want, you can give the name of your unit. Next, I have given 2 questions in this particular unit. Next, again I added one more section and I gave the 2 questions in this particular unit. So these are the multiple choice questions which I have created in this Google quiz. I shared this link to my students and got 31 responses from my students. So now we can understand the heads of the responses. So this is the summary head of the responses. You can get the insight to the responses or answer which you got from the students. For example, you can see that for 2 students got the 1 mark, 11 students got 2 marks, 11 students scored 3 marks, again 7 students scored 4 marks. So this is the total points distribution. After that, you can see how the keyword used to transfer a control from a function back to the calling function, correct, how many correct responses you got, and these are the email IDs. Here you can see the summary unit wise. See, this is unit 1, first question. 30 students responded, gave the correct answer for the first question. That means this question is clear to my students. 19 students gave the correct answers. Okay. In this question, you can see that 11 students gave the correct answer. That means I need to explain again this question. It is not clear to my students. 25 students gave the correct answer. That is also a good score. So this is how I can analyze the responses which I receive from my students, right? After that, after the summary tab, you can see this question tab. You can analyze each student, or you can see the responses of each student in question tab. See, select the email ID of this particular student. For example, I have selected the Rachna Singh. This is the test paper of the Rachna Singh. I can see the test paper of Rachna Singh, right? So this is how you can see the questions tab, individual tab. Sorry, this is the individual tab, and I can also get the print of the answers of particular student. This is individual tab. I can also delete the response of particular student, right? This is the question tab. In question tab, you can see the answers of each particular field. You can see the answers of each field, right? You can see the answers of each field. These are all the students who gave the responses, and you can see their feedbacks, their response. So you can see that in question tab. So in summary tab, you can analyze the responses of your students. In individual tab, you can get the access of answer sheet of a particular student, and in question tab, you can see the graded, ungraded responses of each student. Again, if you want to see the responses of all the students, you can see the responses in this sheet. This sheet stores all the responses of your students. Again, your questions, which are the fields of your Google quiz, becomes the heading of these columns. So they became the column name. So you can see your responses are stored in Google Sheet. Fine. Let's come back to our test. So this is the MCQ test, that means multiple choice questions test. Next, if you want to give the subjective question paper to your students, so I have also created one more test paper. So you can see that now the question is how you will check and give the grades or responses to the student for the subjective question paper. So again, I have created one more test for my students, again for various sections. In first section, I have given the first question is multiple choice question, and the second question is the subjective question. So what do you mean by keywords in C language? I have given the subjective question. In second section, again I have given one multiple choice question, and second question is the subjective question, right? In this particular Google quiz, what change I have made is, in settings I have selected, in quizzes tab I have selected, I will release the marks later after manual review. That means I will review the answer and then I will later release the marks. Other things are similar, the way we did the questions for MCQs for the previous question paper. So this is how I created a subjective question. Now the question is how I can grade the subjective questions for my students. So again you have to select the responses tab and go to your sheet, responses sheet. So this is the responses of my students of each question. So here I have to use the add-on Flabero, which will help me to give grade to the students manually. So for that you have to add a add-on, install a add-on, as I have already how you can install the add-on by clicking the get add-ons option, by selecting the get add-ons option. As I have already added the Flabero, so you can see the option Flabero right here. Now I have to give the grade to my assignment, so I have to select the option grade assignment. For this particular question MCQ, it's necessary to collect the email addresses from the students, because you will share their marks through mail. Now I have to give the grading for the questions. The first field is email address, that identifies student. Next is score option, so we have to skip grading for this particular option. You have various options in this. I have already selected, that's why it is showing the already selected option. So you have to skip the grading for score. Name also identifies student. For roll number you have to skip the grading. Next is size of float in C, that was the MCQ question, so it will get the normal grading. What do you mean by keywords in C? That was the subjective type question, so I have selected the option grade by hand. Similarly, the third question is the multiple choice question, so normal grading. The fourth question is given the option grade by hand. So this is how you will select the various grading options for each question. Next you have to click on the continue button. Here it will ask you for the submission. You have to select the various students, as we want to work it for all the students, so I will again click on the continue button. So grading is in progress. Flabero is creating the grading for our assignment. So here you can see that grading is complete. See, here you can see your various questions. See, so these are the students, these are the not graded options. Here they got the answer for the normal grading question, and this is the question where you have to give your answer, you have to give your own scores to the students. This is a 2 marks question. I am again giving 1 marks to all the students. Right? So after reading their answers, how you can read their answer? In this sheet you can see that 2 sheets created. Here you can read their answers, and here you can give the grade to your student. So I will give the grade to all my students. I am just making my work easier and giving all of them 1 marks. Fine. Next we have one more question. Here I am giving 2 marks to all my students. I'm giving grades, the manual grades to all my students. Fine. So I have given the grades. Now how to share the grade to your students? Again, you will click on the add-on options, Flobaro. Now you have to click on the share grades. After clicking on the share grades, it will send mail to all the students who have given the test. So again, I am getting an option, share grades. It is asking me how I want to give this mail. I want to, whatever message I want to send in the mail. After making the changes in this particular thing, I will click on the continue button, and now after clicking on this continue button, all the mails will be shoot up, or my students will receive the scores which I sent them after manual reviewing. This is how you will give the marks to the subjective questions, right? So I'm coming back to my Google form. There are few things which were left. See, this is the customize theme option. Click on this customize theme option, just making a how to make your Google form look good. So this is the customize theme option. After clicking on this particular option, you can see that there are various options. First is the header option. If you want to add a header above this feedback form, that means if you want to add an image to this feedback form, here choose an image, select whatever image you want. For example, I want to select this particular image and insert this image. So you will see that the image inserted as a header to your form. You can also change the theme color of your form. You can also change the background color of your form. Whatever change you want to make. You can also change the font style of your form. These are the various options. So you can change the look of your form. So these are the theme options. Besides these theme options, you will see that there are few more things which you can do with the fields. For example, in this field you can see that there is a image button. You can also add an image here with the hobbies. For example, I did this with attendance. In my attendance form, here I added a image here. Through this button I inserted an image here. So which college logo is this? You can select, you can give the various options to the students. By seeing this image, the student can give the answer. Similarly, you can also, instead of writing options here as a text, you can also add an image here as an option. For every option you can also add an image, right? In these options we have already done add question. This is import questions. If you want to import questions from your existing form, you can select this particular option. This is add title and description. If you want to add any title in between, see, I have added a title. So here you can add any particular title in between. So you can use the add title and description button. Add an image. If you want to add any image in between your questions, you can use that. Similarly, you can add a video also. Sections I have already explained. So I have completed all the options of Google Forms and quizzes. If you have any query, you can ask me or you can call me anytime. Thank you so much.